Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Kickback. This is Anthony. I got a special guest, man. We got a special caller calling in. This is two men, two accidents, real life. No preaching, just truth, man. You want to go ahead and you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Manuel. I'm actually a blind DJ, but we can get to that a bit later.
Yeah, for sure. That's what's up, my brother. Well, welcome to the Kickback. Thank you for calling in. I want to start a little bit about you and your story, man. I want to Well, like you said, we'll get to the accident, we'll get to the blindness and all that, but I want to talk about who you were before the accident, and not just the family man, the working man, but who was the young Manuel, like the 14-year-old Manuel.
Shoot, 14-year-old Manuel. I was running the streets. I was actually 14 years old. I was actually homeless at the time, living from friend's house to friend's house, family members to family members, and we can even take it back even before that. I was actually born and they revived me when I was born. I was born with a umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and I wasn't breathing.
Oh wow,
So that's one of my first deaths. The other one we'll get to, with the wreck. But I was literally born dead though.
wow. So from the beginning, you already had to persevere.
I was already fighting.
Man, that's crazy. That's similar to like me. They're wanting to abort me. They were saying telling my mom that I wasn't gonna be like physically I wouldn't have full brain capacity, and who knows, right? But thank God for my mom and her perseverance and her faith that she wasn't gonna give up. But
Yeah,
that's cool, man. That I could, like I said, I could relate to that. That you've been fighting from the beginning.
yeah. Growing up, uh, I was misled in a lot of ways, but I know a lot of people use growing up in the hoods, the barrios, whatever you want to call it, the ghetto, as an excuse to get into dope, get into being alcoholic. And me, I used that and I turned it around and I seen what it was doing to people. I seen what it was doing to my older brother. I seen what it did to people around me, and that pushed me away from it. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna. I need to stay on my p's and q's 24/7. I need to stay away from that because I'm not gonna get caught slipping like that.
Yeah, for sure. That like you were your eyes were open to the craziness in the ghettos, in the hood, in the barrio.
Yeah.
Right. So what was that turning point that you would say seeing all that made you change?
Honestly, I don't want to say it was a turning point,
Hmm.
but I believe my past brought me to be able to overcome what I'm going through now.
Hmm.
Your past makes you who you are today. It prepares you for the future. The past always prepares you for the future, and but there was a point where I got in some trouble,
Hmm.
and I got pulled inside, and I had an individual. I don't want to say his name. I had an individual tell me, look, and he broke down some stuff to me, and the way he broke it down just wowed me, and the way. And he did tell me, he did say, you know what, just between me and you, you know, don't, the way he broke it down. I just put it that way. He made me see things in a different light.
He gave you some game.
He gave me some game, and even though he was real deep into it, that's why I don't want to say his name because he's still.
Yeah.
But he made me see things in a different light, and that wowed me. And right after that, that's when I pretty much started my family, and
So you
it,
left that you didn't want to be a part of that lifestyle. The some individual kind of opened your eyes to the chaos of the streets, and that made you go in a different direction.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was. It's always there, but I still, at that point, I still had my options.
Yeah. So what does life look like now? Like, let's get to the accident. What happened
Well,
that day? Like, what were you doing?
well, before my accident, after that, I uh, became a father,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just working. I was working, being a dad. I went through a couple jobs because my family came before a job. Job comes at a dime a dozen, but your family doesn't.
Yeah.
And Jobs knew that. I let Jobs know from the jump. If my kids got an event or they have an appointment, I'm gonna go to their event or to their appointment.
Yeah. Dedication.
Yeah, and most jobs actually respected it. There was one that tried to test it and said no, you're mandatory to work overtime. And I didn't show up. And they wanted losing some. Well, long story short, they wanted losing a contract because they lost me. They're trying to get me back. I was like, nah, you guys trying to pick my job over my family. That ain't happening.
Yeah. You were firm in your decisions.
Yeah, so I wanted at another job, so on this next job, I was my back road. My main way to work was this person's back road,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was hit head on by a DUI driver,
Mm-hmm.
and this DUI driver actually ran in one of my oldest son's circle at the time.
Oh wow.
And this DUI driver was headed to a memory of life that started on a Monday, and it was 4:50 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. That's when I was headed to work, and they were headed back to that memory of life from somebody that they lost a week before due to a DUI driver.
Wow.
So on this particular morning, I got up, just my regular morning routine. Luckily, I was blessed with my eyesight for 42 years of my life before that, and I got up, did my routine, woke up my daughter, and the last time I got to see my daughter's face, I got 9 kids, but this particular morning I was able to see my daughter's face. She was 7, 8 years old at the time, and she gave me a big old cheesy smile and said, "All right." She was born on my birthday, so she used to call me birthday boy, and I used to call her birthday girl. Uh, Woke up, she said, "I love you, birthday boy." And I told her, "I love you too, birthday girl." And she went, slept on my side of my bed, and woke up. My wife gave her a little kiss on the cheek and told her I was on my way to work. And this was, my morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to see her again before my wreck. And I call it a wreck. It's not to me. I don't call it an accident because it could have been prevented. So
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
so I before I left, she said, and it was our routine. She said, "All right, babe, be safe." And I told her always.
Mm-hmm.
And went to work, headed to work, and on my way to work, a gut feeling told me just to take another back route, which I really didn't know that back route that good in the middle of the dark, so I didn't want to take it. So
Mm-hmm.
I went the regular route, and I seen a car swerve in my lane. Didn't think nothing of it. It was about 4:50 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, so I kept going. And last second, straight in my lane again, and I didn't make it out the way. And all I knew was I was in a bad accident. And I don't know, my pickup truck was flipping. I have no clue what it was doing. I know I have a video of it from the guy that was behind me. Uh, some ways back behind me, he took when he came up to the scene, called 911, and he took a couple Snapchats, and which we'll get to that in a minute. And but it was pretty bad from the look of it. It looks like it was flipped. But when it came to stop, when I was in the wreck, I knew I was in a bad wreck. My truck was moving. I don't know, like I said, I don't know, it was flipping. I don't know what it was doing, but I was moving around, being swung around my truck. Seatbelt, the reasons that one of the many things that saved my life. And but when I was being swung around, I remember telling myself before my truck came to an end, I'm in a bad wreck. Oh, at the time I didn't know it was a wreck. At the time I was thinking I'm in a bad accident.
Mhm.
And at that time, before my truck came to a stop, I was saying, God, if this is my time, forgive me for my sins, take care of my family.
Yeah.
And when my truck came to a stop, I said, nah, it's not my time. It's not my time. I'm not ready. I got to go help the people in the other car.
Mm.
I, I'm in a bad wreck. I got to help the people in the other car. And what do they have? What do they have? Kids. I started flipping out. And I remember my son, he used to go to work with me sometimes. My youngest son, he used to go to work with me sometimes because I was a truck driver. And I looked to my right, and I couldn't see him. Well, in my head, I was, the process I was thinking.
Yeah.
I looked to my right, couldn't see him, so I started yelling his name. He wasn't answering me. Then from there, I flipped out. But you see, it took the fire department 45 minutes. Okay, so check this out.
Mm.
It took fire departments 45 minutes to the jaws of life to get me out of my pickup truck.
Man.
Now, I spoke with one of the firemen afterwards, and he said the crazy thing was they had practiced on the same scene, the same
Wow.
pickup the day before. The only difference was the pickup was green, my pickup was red.
Oh, wow.
He said, but if it wasn't for them practicing the day before, they wouldn't have took that fast.
Wow.
And because of that, he fell victim of circumstance because he had to go to therapy for a few years after that because of the scene and how bad it was.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And he's not the only one. I'll get more deeper once throughout the story. So it took fire departments 45 minutes with the jaws of life to get me out of my pickup truck. And then, so they got me into the ambulance. The pictures of my pickup truck when I was in my pickup truck that they gave us, the way they describe it to me, and I can't see it because I'm blind. All I see now is pitch black because of this. But
Mm.
they said it had so many orbs around my pickup truck. It had one big
Wow.
orb on my right shoulder with a bunch of orbs inside of it. And when I was out of my pickup truck and I was in the ambulance driving off, the orbs were around the ambulance, and there was no orbs around my pickup truck when they were taking the pictures. And remember, it wasn't raining that day. It wasn't foggy that day.
Yeah.
And so when I was in the ambulance, I remember feeling my wife's hands on my chest and her telling me, baby, you're going to be okay. Just let them do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the crazy thing, she was home. She wasn't there. She
Yeah.
had no clue I was in this wreck yet. But I died 2 times in an ambulance and once at the hospital. And now here's another crazy thing. The one that was taking care of me in the ambulance, which I got more background story about, they used the whole electric shock on me both times and all that. And they were ready to call my death because I wasn't coming back to life. I went down for over 5 minutes. And but the crazy thing, it happened to be one of my wife's cousins that was taking care of. He was one of the EMTs that was taking care of me in the ambulance.
Oh my god. Wow.
And then so it gets even deeper because I got 2 sons that passed away.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law passed away, and then my wife's older brother, he passed away. She never met him. He got hit by a car when he was a little kid. He's, her older brother. But when they were transferred from the ambulance to the emergency room doors, they, my son, my mother-in-law, and I remember his picture from his stone. He was holding his mom's leg, which is my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was holding my 2 babies in her arms.
Mm.
And they came up to me, and my mother-in-law said, "Mijo, don't worry, you're gonna be okay. They're calling my wife and my kids right now. They're gonna be taken out of school. They're gonna be here." Which they weren't even in school yet because they were sleeping at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when they see me, the way they describe me, they found out through the newspaper. It was on newspaper before
Mm-hmm.
they even found out. And they seen the truck. And the way they described me by the time I got in there was they had my body covered with hospital sheets and blankets. This way they want to see the bones sticking out of my body.
Yeah.
And they didn't know it was me because all I seen was my face, which my face was, they said, it's so badly swollen. It was literally like a basketball. And it was dark, dark, dark purple, black. And they knew it was me. Well, they seen the blood seeping through the blankets. You know, they seen the bone indentions like poking out of the blankets.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but they knew it was me because of my granddaughter's name I have tattooed on the side of my head, which is Esperanza. You know, in English, that means hope.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he described my face was my eyes was pretty much out of my head like golf balls. I had blood coming out of my ears, eyelids, my nose, my mouth. You know, not to get too graphic, but it's the way they explained it to me.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, my granddaughter's name, Hope, that is the only reason why, it's in Spanish, Esperanza, but they knew it was me because of my granddaughter's name on the side of my head, and which is hope. You know, something that all doctors lost was hope in me, but my family didn't. And I say that because when I woke up from my coma, I literally woke up to what's his name? He sounded like his accent, Count Dracula. He sounded like Count Dracula.
Oh, okay.
Deep accent, deep voice. Literally woke up to Count Dracula, which he was my brain doctor, telling my wife to pull the plug on me.
Oh man.
I had no chance to live. And my wife was crying, my kids was crying, and when I was listening to this, I knew he was talking about me because all I could see was pitch black. I couldn't move. My body was paralyzed. I couldn't talk because I had a trach down my throat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And so I don't know how he did it. I have no clue how I did it, but I sat up. When I sat up on the right of me, I heard the nurses like flipping out. They're like, look, look, look. And they started flipping out. I heard the doctor say, you know, lay him down, you know, give him some medicine, put him to sleep. And so they laid me back down. They shot me right away with some who knows what.
Yeah. Knocked you out.
I remember waking up, which that was, come to find out, that was the first time they were telling my family pull the plug on me. They were trying to get them to pull the plug on me. And then so my wife said it was like 2 weeks later. And I woke up, same thing. You know, on the left of me, my kids crying. Towards the foot of my bed, my wife was crying. And then Count Dracula was telling her, with all the brain damage I took, that there's a good chance that I'm not going to have no brain memory. I'm not going to remember her, let alone my own kids. And I remember I was thinking in my head, man, why are you lying? I remember everything.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't move, though. I had a trach down my throat. I had no voice. All I see is pitch black. My body was tight down, but I was able to move my right arm. So I picked up my right arm, and I started asking for something to write with. And when I did that, the nurse was like, look, it was like playing charades with the nurses.
Yeah. Right.
My wife's like, I think he's asking for something to write with. And I pointed at her like, you won. But so I started writing, and the nurse said, look, he remembers how to write. Which, honestly, the joke's on them because I didn't know how to write before my accident. It actually made me excited. But I started writing, and then, so from there, long story short, they took 32 pints of blood to stabilize me for emergency surgery, a total of 52 pints of blood in all to save me. They had to reconstruct my whole face and my whole left side of my body. I'm an amputee. So the surgeon that did the emergency surgery on my face, he said that my face was so bad that was the last, which he did for over like 30 years. But he said mine was so bad that he's seen that was the last one that he no longer does emergency surgeries no more. He does, visit appointment surgeries now.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was the last one that he did because that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And so, but I have hardware in my face now. I have cadaverform bones in my face. My whole left side is full of hardware and cadaver bones. I have my shoulder. The surgeon that did my shoulder said my shoulder was so bad because my shoulder sticking out of my skin. He said it was like a bunch of cobwebs. He said it was the worst he's ever seen. My bone was sticking out of my forearm. I'm not supposed to have movement my last three fingers, which I do, like nothing. My femur, the hardest bone in your body, it's like concrete, is your femur.
Mm-hmm.
That was broken out of my leg in three different pieces. And then my foot was degloved, which they wasn't able to save my leg. So they amputated, which, hey, I was walking before. I wasn't supposed to be walking, but you make me a socket beforehand. I'm not going to stay in a wheelchair. I want to be walking.
Yeah.
That's just always been me. So that's pretty much, and that's not even, including the. So what happened with my accident? We'll get a little bit into the ripple effects because
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
So after my incident, I don't like saying accident because
Yeah.
so the person I was driving was 3 times over the limit. Was high. The person drinking, smoking weed, and coked out. And so since I was the main provider of my house, the landlord at the time kicked my family out. So not only my wife was dealing with the doctors telling her to pull the plug on me, I had no chance. Trying to raise the kids and dealing with the landlord kicking us out of the house. So when I got out, we were homeless. We were homeless for about a year. See, I was the main provider of the house. So there was no income coming in the house, during my incident.
Yeah.
Because I was the main provider. So we ended up homeless for a year. And the person that was in the car, they had no car insurance. They had no car insurance. They had nothing. So I literally got nothing out. They had no job. I have nothing, got nothing out of it. And to this day, that person, because I know, to this day, that person blames me for the incident. Hey, my bad. I know I wasn't being your way while you were driving, under the influence, but being that now on my SDI or I'm not sure what they call it, but I was making what I was making in a week. I barely make that in a month now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nowadays it's hard. So I taught myself how to DJ.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah, just muscle memory. I've really nobody have faith to teach me. They were like, you can't DJ. You're blind. I said, man, don't tell me I can't do something because I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And but before I taught myself how to DJ, trying to keep the family up and rolling, and bills and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I love music, but it just my kids growing up. I got grandkids. I have no clue what they look like.
Yeah.
I have my daughters. They go to competition and I can't see them. I can't see their talent. My son, his talent in football. I can't see it. And but I'm there. They graduated. I didn't see them walk the stage, but I was there. I was still being the loudest one. My grandkids, they play their games, and even though I can't see what's going on, I'm still the loudest parent there, grandparent. And it's funny because I hear the crowd on our side be like, "Oh, come on, ref! You didn't see that? That was blocking the back, or that was holding."
Mm-hmm.
I start yelling at the ref too. "Come on, ref! I'm blind. Even I've seen that. That was so open." And everybody starts laughing. I still got my sense of humor.
Yeah.
That thing got tweaked. Because from the jump, what happened when I first woke up and I first found out what happened. When I woke up from a coma and I was like, "What's going on? What happened?" And they started telling me what happened. I accepted it from the jump. And that person, I forgave that person from the time I woke up, not because that person never asked for forgiveness, always, puts me at blame. but I forgave that person for me, for
Yeah,
my
for
side.
yourself. Yeah.
And because what I do now, I can't do it sincerely if I don't forgive that person.
Hallelujah.
So I accepted it, and I am grateful and feel blessed for what I have, not for what I lost. Because if I look at it like, man, I lost my leg, I lost my eyesight, I lost half my movement on my left side, then I'm just gonna be miserable. So I can't look at it that way. I just got to be grateful for what I can do, what I do got, and move forward.
Amen. Yeah. What I'm hearing out of all this, man, is complete transformation, perseverance, endurance, and a miracle, man. Hope and something to just like I hear fighting, man. Like man, that gives me so much inspiration because I could sit here and complain also about me and my accident. And I remember waking up for the first time out of my coma, and I couldn't see. I mean, I'm not completely blind like the view, but I couldn't see. I was completely dark. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. I couldn't talk. I had the trach, and at that moment, I knew I was in a wreck because I can hear beep, beep, beep. You know what I mean? And I was just like, man, I was tripping. You know, I
Yeah.
like let me ask you this because in my wreck and all that, I was I was a believer. I changed my life already, and but after that, after this accident, bro, like my perspective on God changed in that split second. Like I was like, God, what? Like, cause I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, but I would pray in my mind, like, God, why? Like, you know what I mean? It was crazy, man. Like, so let me ask you, did your like outlook of God change?
I always had my faith. I always had my beliefs. I always had my faith.
Mhm.
I always knew because, like I said, growing up and certain things I went through growing up as a kid, as a teenager, I know he was there with me. I know I had my angels there next to me. I knew, certain things. I knew he was there.
Yeah.
So when I woke up that from my coma, I knew he was there. I knew he saved me. I knew, but I've never gotten mad at him. I've never questioned him why. That never ran through my mind. I know it does for a lot of people. Me
It did
personally,
for me.
it never did.
Yeah, that takes strength, man. That's a mighty man right there.
And but with me, the only difference is that I have my own personal relationship with him,
Hmm.
and I don't let nobody dictate my relationship with him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
We are our own individual persons, and he gives us all our own how do you say it?
yeah. Like
Our
revelation.
own choices and
Yeah, like free will. Free will.
our own free will.
Yeah.
So I never question it, and but I know he's here. I
Yeah.
know he's regardless to the struggles, even to this day. A lot of the struggles that we go through and the obstacles that we have to try to fight through and overcome.
Hmm. He's there. He's never left you. I mean, for me, in my moment when I was like, I was still confused. I had a brain injury. I was like, what's going on? I was angry, man. Because I was serving God. I was doing all this. I changed my life. I mean, I was still young. I was a young believer, you know? And I was like, what's going on? And I remember reflecting and reflecting all the time in the hospital bed. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. And so I would just pray in my mind. And I remember like, why, God? Like, why? You know? And I remember just him like I remember like I'm not real big like oh yeah God spoke to me like but I remember in that moment I had a thought Exodus 9:16 and I was like Moses in the Red Sea God like what and then I finally get out of the hospital and I tell my wife and she reads it to me and it's pretty much like every time people see you you're displaying my power and my name will be declared throughout all the earth, right? And I was like, wow, like because now this podcast is in 5 different countries, and now when like when they see us, they see it. It's like when I see you, Manuel, that you're a mighty inspiration. That's you're God's handiwork, His miracle out. You know what I mean? Like as you were saying, you're DJing. You don't let nothing stop you, man. You're pushing.
And you know the crazy thing is. I know, like for example, now I speak at every 15-minute programs at the high schools, which the every 15-minute programs, what they do is they reenact. It started in Canada, now it's here in California, I think. I'm not sure which other states, but what they do, they reenact the whole DUI crash, and they literally use the hospital. The hospital closes down a spot. They use the people from Nightmare, and I forgot the name of the company, and that does the makeup. You know, they do for Hollywood. They do the makeup for Hollywood. You know, the whole scenes of blood and all that. They make it look so realistic. They make it. They use the part where they go. They use the coroner's office. They go to the coroner's office. You know, they use a helicopter to come in and pick up and meta-flight them out of the scene of the wreck. They reenact the videos. They use the coroner's office. The parent has to go and identify their kids at the coroner's office. They
Real
use
different.
the jail, shut down part of the jail for they can use have the parent go visit their kid behind the glass window at the and you know they videotape that part and you know they go to court. They do the whole they literally redo the whole thing. And sometimes some of the kids chuckles because they know it's a reenactment. They see their peers and they see. But when my video drops of the actual accident, the real wreck, the real scene, that whole place gets silent. They
Yeah.
get silent, go up there, and you know, I have everybody close their eyes, have them envision what I see. I
Mm.
have them doing like their morning routines. I have them open their eyes. I'm standing there on my walker with my leg off, and I tell them straight up, you know, I'm a living miracle I'm a living testimony and literally a living miracle.
Mhm.
And I go on, I speak my story, and you know, and I have pretty much that whole place in tears, all the seniors and sophomores and seniors. And but I speak at DUI classes, I speak at public events on top of DJing. You know, I don't get paid for none of that. You know, I just do it out of the heart
Yeah.
because I don't want to make it a job to where, oh, you know what, I'm trying to help save lives, but pay me for it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they
Yeah.
want to give donations, cool, but if they don't, they don't. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the righteousness and for the realness.
Yeah. Yeah. You wanna just help somebody. You know what I mean? If you could shine light
Yeah,
on the darkness that's happening, the drinking and driving, then that's a victory. You know?
because I'm because in my case, I don't want to do it just for me. I don't consider myself a victim. Therefore, a victim of statistics. Unfortunately, yes.
Mm.
Am I a victim? No. Am I a victim of circumstances? You can say that I am a victim of circumstances, but I'm not a victim. You know, I wasn't picked out from a crowd. I wasn't. Nah, I'm never that. I'm not a. I am a victim of circumstances, unfortunately. But I believe that my my past made me strong to be able to overcome what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
And you know, God puts everybody in their path. God got a path for everybody,
Mhm.
and I believe God gave me this path for I can help trying to save lives. And I don't want to say I'm doing God's work because God does His own work,
Mhm.
but He's allowing me to help Him do His work
He's
in a sense.
using you. Yeah.
Yeah, He's using me to help Him do His work, and to me, that's an honor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because as you were saying, you talk to high school kids. It's funny because I remember my son, you talked to his class and I remember him coming back. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the homie Manuel, man." And yeah, he said that you touched everybody in that auditorium, man.
Yeah, I know. This year I'm gonna be speaking at my daughter's high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh man, man, I don't try to compare my accident to you or nothing like that because obviously you've overcome way more than I ever have, and you give me great inspiration, bro. But it's different injuries, but the same moment. Life changed in a second. You know what I mean?
but you know what though, we God gives us what He knows we can handle.
Yes.
All of our injuries, all of our accidents or wrecks or however you want to put it,
Mm.
incident, you know, is to our toughest fight. So nobody's worse than another one's, nobody's less than another one's. It's what we can handle.
Amen, bro. Man, that's awesome. How you can just take something and flip it for the positive, man. Like I said, you're an inspiration to me and to those that are listening out there. Just 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 make that decision to listen to God and know that we're not telling you what to believe, how to believe it, but just hear us out. Hear the story of my brother Manuel here and his perseverance and how he still kept the faith. You know, he remained faithful. And that's all we're doing, and that's what we're doing by doing this here, getting callers. I'm hitting the streets with these kingdom kickbacks, and it's just real life, real talk, man. No preaching, no church walls. Let's just share our stories because we've overcome by the blood of the lamb and the word of our testimony, man.
And I would like to add this. I would like to add this. For everybody who's listening, thank you for listening to this all the way through, allowing us to turn our negative into your positive. And I'm doing this not just to save people from being falling a victim of circumstances of any DUI driving, but also from trying to save people that's driving under the influence as well. You don't want to put yourself in a predicament to where you end up behind bars for a simple mistake, or for a simple, how they put it a lot of times, selfishness, a selfish act.
Mm.
But thank you for allowing us to turn our negative into your guys' positive. And always, the way I look at it is, before you leave a party, ask yourself, what will you do when the party's over?
Mm.
And everybody, always make sure you tell your loved ones you love them before you leave your house, because you're not guaranteed to make it home. And to everybody, I ask you guys this, be a blessing and stay blessed.
Man, thank you, Manuel, man. Thank you for calling in. Tune in Mondays at 6 a.m. for Kingdom Kickbacks, and it's just real life, real talk, man.